So there you are.
You're connected and hopefully they'll connect soon. You want me to disconnect it now? And you know how to do gallery view, right?
How do I know when somebody comes on?
Because they'll show up.
Oh, okay.
And when you want
Yeah.
gallery view, you're gonna hit that little button. It doesn't show gallery view now because there's nobody else there.
Gotcha.
But, and here's your other button. So just hit the screen and these other buttons will
And
come up.
mute is
Mute.
down there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I got it.
So you
Thanks.
just touch the screen.
Appreciate
You
it.
want the lights on out here?
Yeah, probably.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Larry. How's things where you are?
You know, it's kind of windy out there today.
Yeah.
Sort of that frontal system that went by a few days ago, I think.
Brian is here.
I got it. So how's things going in the air these days with the FAA cuts?
You know, is Jason gonna be on?
Huh?
Is Jason gonna be on?
No, is he?
I don't know.
No, I talked to him this morning. No.
Oh, he just got back from vacation.
Yeah,
Right. All right, let's call the meeting to order. Can everybody hear me?
yes,
Okay, so the North Hero Water Board meeting for March 10th, 6 p.m., 2025. Any adjustments to the agenda?
No, I don't have any.
nope.
Okay, so hearing none. So looking, I had everything out here and then I lost it. Approval of the minutes, February 10th, 2025.
I will make the motion to approve the minutes of February 10th.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Not hearing any. If you're in favor, go ahead and say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? No nays. And is Jim?
I don't see Jim and we don't have Frank.
Okay, so Frank told me that he had to go out of town and he wasn't gonna be able to attend. Jim told me that he was. So let me just give him a quick text and tell him it's time. All right, approval of warrants.
In Frank's absence, I'll make the motion to approve the warrant for Fund 21 in the amount of $16,986.84. And I will also motion to approve Fund 22 warrant in the amount of $9,376.60.
Okay, so there's
I'll second both of those motions.
okay, so there's a motion for Fund 21 for 16,986.84 and a motion for Fund 22 for 937,660. Any further discussion? Okay, not hearing any. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays?
There it is.
Aye.
Got an aye.
Here I am.
Hey, Jim.
Hey, Jim, we were just voting on warrant Fund 21 and 22. There was a motion to pay 16,986.84 for 21 and 9,376.60 for Fund 22. And we've all voted. Would you like to vote?
Yes, I looked over that and aye.
Okay, great. So that makes it unanimous. Balance sheet. What do we have there?
That's just your version of the balance sheet to look over. It's not,
Okay,
and the budget, same with the budget status.
all right.
It's just showing up on your online agenda.
Yeah, just lost my online agenda. I had to switch iPads for some reason that didn't like. Hit that again. Didn't like my other iPad. All right, I got it now. Any questions on that board? And everything's tracking good, Lisa?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'm not hearing any questions. Thank you for that. Recognition of visitors. Who have I got? I
We
don't,
have President Lincoln here.
President Lincoln with us today.
I see him. Yeah, I don't see anybody online.
Oh,
Okay. What is Lincoln doing there? Should I ask?
I'm not really sure.
I put him up for the library board as a joke and then forgot about it. So, he's just here.
But he keeps scaring the crap out of me every time
yeah.
I go to the corner.
I heard he filled out a letter saying he wanted to be a commissioner, so that's why he's there.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, I'm sorry I asked. So I guess we've recognized Abe. And it appears he doesn't have anything to say, so we're gonna move on. Water storage tank project timeline discussion. Okay, so Andy, do you
Yeah.
want to grab?
Sure, the
that?
documents listed here, the certificate of insurance, payment bond, performance bond were all provided by Negley and Chase per the contract. So everything's in order there. As far as the timeline, I spoke to Jason Booth and Jim Maloney this morning. Jim's the project manager for Negley and Chase. Aldrich and Elliott is doing a really good job of expediting the shop drawings, mainly from the tank. They've gotten some electrical shop drawings as well. They're putting them through as quickly as they can. Everything is on schedule right now, so hopefully we'll even improve on it a bit, but we're off to a good start as far as all the submittals and approvals go. Of course, the critical path will go through the manufacturer of the tank, and I think they've been given the go-ahead to start, so everything's in pretty good shape at this point.
Okay, so is there anything you want specifically? I mean, I'm looking through all those, the certificate of liability insurance, payment bond, performance bond. Is there anything specifically you want to point out?
Not really, that's
Okay.
all, boilerplate stuff, standard procedure in these type of construction contracts. So I think you will find I guess that's later on, the next item, the minutes for the pre-construction meeting that Brian and I attended.
I had something, Andy.
Oh, go ahead.
So our agreement with the USDA requires a contract review. It says your attorney will certify that the executed contract documents, including performance and payment bonds, are adequate and that the persons executing the documents have been properly authorized to do so.
Okay,
And we have to have that in place before we start construction.
okay,
So I have reached out to Mike Tarrant previously, like at the beginning of the
Yeah.
bid process and
Yep.
let him know this was coming. But I didn't, but of course we didn't have the contract and none of this had happened.
yeah.
So I didn't know if you wanted to be the one to pick that circle back up now that you've,
I don't have I mean, I just know from experience that there's no issue with what they've given us, but if we need to get Mike to sign off on it.
it says your attorney will certify that the
Okay.
executed contract, they don't give a form, so I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what he'll need.
Okay, I'll get in touch with Mike Tarrant.
So if it says an attorney must sign off on it, let's make sure that we have a document with his name on it.
Yeah.
And because this is probably a little different than some of those other projects with all the grants and stuff. And so thank you for,
Yeah, thanks, Corinne. Like I said, I've seen so many of these, I didn't even.
And it
think
shouldn't be a
was-
surprise to him. I made
Yeah.
sure he had the
Yeah,
bid.
okay, yeah, I'll get in touch with him.
He confirmed with me, we used, because it was so big, anyway, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But he's been busy. so it's A
Okay,
little bit of bird dogging that may be necessary. but-
yeah. Well,
okay,
fortunately, we've still got a little bit of time before actual construction starts. So,
Yeah.
yeah, okay,
and Lisa, let's put that on the agenda for next month for follow-up to make sure that we have, we've gotten that. So let's see, before that, we were rolling into the pre-construction meeting, with, Brian and Andy. Any input, anything specifically? I read,
no, it
Really?
was just kind of setting out the ground rules for the project, who's doing what. We had, you know, in addition to Brian and I, we had three people from Aldrich and Elliott. We had a couple people from Negley and Chase. We had our two people from USDA Rural Development. Joe and Kevin were here, and we had Cindy Parks from the state of Vermont. So I guess all the relevant parties were there.
okay. Good. Brian, you got anything to add to that?
No, I think you covered it. The minutes are in the package. Everything went as smoothly as it could have.
Yep,
Yep.
I'm looking through the minutes. Yep, thank you.
And Kevin had a chance at the end for input, which he gave to the engineers, and it looks like they're gonna be able to accommodate his concerns.
Yeah, they've already started. In fact, I talked to Brian today. He had a couple of things. We'll have more definitive information by the end of this week on a couple of things he was concerned about.
Okay. Water storage tank timeline. So I saw
Yeah, the
the
schedule's
chart.
there.
North Hero Water Storage Tank construction schedule. Okay, and
You
that's,
can read it. There's a copy in the agenda packet.
yeah, it's page 29,
Yeah,
or at least on the online portion, it's page 29.
When I looked at, the only thing I saw that was a little weird about it is it still shows completion in September, and I think that's kind of dreaming.
In September. Well, I'm showing, unless I'm looking at the wrong one, it says November 18th for the startup.
right, yeah, that's correct.
But what I did notice was it says mobilization August 8th, but your
Yep.
minutes said that they would be mobilizing the last week of July.
Yeah, and that it could be either or. It depends on how the manufacturer of the tank goes. And like I said, that process is off to a good start. Jim was hoping he could improve on this schedule, but couldn't commit to anything at this point.
Okay. So Andy, you're keeping an eye with them on the tank
Yes.
to
Yep.
see production wise?
Yep.
Okay, so let's have that on the agenda for next month of tank timeline, I think, again.
I'll try to get a better version of it.
Yeah, if you
So-
could just flip
She'll
it the
flip
other way.
way. Yep,
Yeah.
okay, I've already made a note, yep.
All right, water tank Mylar update.
Oh, is
Okay,
that permit?
Yeah,
That-
well, that finally got signed off at the last
Okay.
DRB meeting. The drawing went through a couple extra loops before to get it to where they were gonna sign it off. The version that got approved, when they made the Mylar initially at Aldrich and Elliott, they made it the wrong size and they printed it on the wrong side of the Mylar. And they didn't provide one of the pages. So we had to get it reissued, redone, and then back in front of the DRB, and it's signed off and it's done. One of the simplest part of this project, but it is complete and that permit is all in place. With
excellent.
the filing of that document, that closed all the conditions.
Okay, thank you for that, Jim. And Lisa, can we pick that up and store it in the SharePoint folder if you haven't already?
We need to get,
Yeah, I have to get a electronic version of it.
I think I have an electronic version, Lisa, because I think I still have the PDF files of that I brought into the DRB originally. And there were no changes made as a result of the DRB. So the ones I have should be the ones that were filed, but they won't have the
Okay.
stamps. They won't have the stamps and signatures on them.
Okay, so but more importantly, I think the question I'm trying to ask is where are we gonna put it and document it in case somebody wants to look at it 5 years from now or 10 years from now?
Well, it's been recorded in the land records, so it's here
Okay.
forever.
Okay, and did it get recorded once or twice?
Once,
Just once, the last one, okay,
the last one, the correct version, yes.
the correct, okay, I guess
Mhm.
that answers my question. All right,
Okay.
anything else there, Jim?
No, that was just nothing else.
Okay, moving on then, project update, cost summary, Andy?
Yeah, that's basically very similar to what we looked at last month. The only thing I updated was our expenditures to date. That's gone up since the 1st of January, and the amount in our reserve fund has gone up a little bit since January. But other than that, the budget remains the same for phase 1. And let's see if I can find the thing. There's one thing I wanted to point out. Yeah.
Oh, is this,
If you,
Page 30,
uh,
is that what I'm looking at?
27 on the hard copy, but whatever, it's the updated budget summary. Yeah, the only thing I wanted to point out on the updated budget, if you go down to the bottom where it says miscellaneous expenses, $90,180. Out
Yes.
of that 90,000, 60,000 is my time because somebody figured, even though I'm not getting paid for it, it's called in-kind services or something like that. Somebody figured my time was worth $100 an hour and I was gonna spend, X number of hours. Right now, I'm not planning on submitting anything on that because I don't think we need that in order to get all of our grants, but that was kind of put in there originally. So bottom line is, so there's $60,000 in that number that we'll never spend.
So Andy, I'd like you to rethink that, because we're gonna be struggling with trying to get the full amount of the CRRP funding with the 20%. So I would like to have that 60,000 in there so that we can grab another 12,000 off from the CRRP funding, because it's 20% of the whole project.
Yeah, we'll just
Or
have to
there.
come up with a way for me to document that and get the information to Lisa, so she can record it however, but.
Yeah, because, you know.
I mean, I don't know what it's gonna take, just a note every week that I spend X number of
Yeah,
hours.
I'll follow up with Peter. How we can do
Okay,
that.
all right.
Have
Perfect.
a
Yeah.
meeting.
Because
Okay,
we want to try to, you know, if we can get 20% of that for the CRRP, we should definitely do that.
Yeah, okay.
All right, thank you for doing that, Andy. Any
Yeah.
questions from the board on that? Okay, updated, whoops, what am I looking at there? I got project update cost summary. Okay, that's the same thing on the next page. State of Vermont construction permit?
yeah, so I found the permit in my water board folder. It was dated December 9th, and I couldn't find in the minutes where or on any agenda that I had presented it to you. I'm sure we knew that we got it.
Yeah, we talked about it, but
So-
you're right, I don't think we ever saw.
So I just
Yeah.
wanted it to get it on the agenda. We've got it. You can see it and it will be documented in the minutes. That's why that's there.
Okay, and so we got it. So Andy, that will be a good thing for you to also grab and have a copy to make sure that we're complying with all the stuff that's in there with the permit too. Evidence operating and what I find when I've done these in the past, Andy, so I'll just give you a heads up that 60 days of when they say they're going to have the OMN manual is supposed to be ready. I
Yeah.
find that the individual in your position, if they're not on top of the company that we're with, that won't happen.
Right.
So let's make sure, and more so, let's make sure to remember to bring our SOS folks in there so that they're happy with how that product looks and how they receive it. I take it it's going to be electronically, but they may also want to have it in a so-quote manual paper type. So I would just encourage you to look through there because there's other things besides just day to day that we have to keep an eye on.
Sure. Will do.
Any other questions on that from the board? Nope. Okay, US Route 2 water line replacement. Brian, I've been on your emails. My understanding is hopefully April is when they're gonna get somebody up there.
Unless the snow goes away quicker. They're on short notice to do it. What we're waiting on now is the initial survey for the archaeological study. Where we want to dig up the water lines we buried. And that's holding up everything. So until that happens, not much is going to go on.
So, well, even if we're waiting on that, I'm sure we should be able to still do the surveying. I mean,
They can't do the survey with the snow on the ground, is what.
Right. I understand that part. So the snow goes, we can do the survey even though we don't have the archaeological permit. Is
the survey is required for the archaeological permit.
Yeah. Okay.
And then that survey will also inform the actual design process. So everything is set up and ready to go. I guess Jason's ready to put pencil to paper the minute that data starts coming in.
Okay. And for pipe, what is it called? Pipe bursting?
Yeah.
Can you follow up to try to get them on the agenda for April? We tried to get them on in March and they weren't ready, but I think the correspondence Lisa, did we get correspondence that said April?
Yes, Jason said, April. The April meeting.
So let's put that on. And then Brian, if you can keep after Jason to make sure we get him on there, because I think that's gonna be a key part of that project if we head down that path.
But who is it you want on? Because there's not just one pipe bursting company.
Jason had one company that he recommended would show up to give a presentation, and I believe that's the one we got the.
Okay, so you're just looking for a presentation on the pipe bursting.
Yeah. And
I
was
think
there,
he said, wasn't it Vortex?
correct, yes.
Yeah, it was the Berry Company, but this changed hands and it's a different name now. I don't remember the name offhand. It's somewhere in the emails. But yeah, I'll try to get them there for April.
Okay. And otherwise, anything else there, Brian?
No, as I say, everything's kind of in abeyance to that. I mean, once the information's on, he can start with the design program. We don't have to wait for the archaeological permit for them to, once they have the data, they can actually start the design.
Yep. And we have the projected timeline up there. It's page 37 if you're online. And we have the 30% review meeting is what we're shooting for in May at this point. And I guess we could stick April, just put a note that says surveying to begin tentatively.
Yeah, I don't know about that date for the 30% complete on design. It's pretty unlikely considering the weather.
Yeah, I think these came from Jason.
They did.
Numbers. So but you know, I'm going to keep them there in front of him to because there's no we can see the brick wall coming on this, so there's no that I don't see any slack in there, so we got to try to keep it moving.
Yep.
So, all right. Any other questions, input on that project? Okay. Hearing none. SOS report operating permit. So conduct routine. So the operating permit, I'm looking, I don't have paperwork
Nope,
on.
that's just the
that.
annual operating permit that needs to be signed off on and paid for. It's included in the warrant. And Brian, do you have to sign that? In A&R?
I don't know because I haven't looked at the document. If I do need to sign it, I'm going to have to e-sign it.
Well, you do anyway, because everything's being done through A&R now.
Yeah, well, you can send me the page I can scribble on. I'd do that.
Okay, I'll get with Kevin.
All right. I probably have to do the same thing with the warrant, no?
The warrant,
Well,
yeah, but the A&R, didn't you set up an A&R account to do things online with A&R?
I don't think so. I think A&R just came up with that, please.
I did set up an account with A&R.
Yeah.
Online. I doubt if I can access that from here.
Okay.
Okay, well, so we'll talk about that account when we get down to D2. But you're going to take care of the operating permit,
Yep.
whatever he needs, and we obviously authorize the funds. How much is that, Lisa? About?
I think it was 200.
Yeah. Okay. Good. 216 Rockledge Drive follow-up. I think that's you too, Brian.
Yeah, there's nothing new there. They what they said, and I forwarded it to Lisa and I think to you, they were looking for some sort of initial approval of their plan. And we did spoke with Kevin on that. We went through it and he's fine with the plan as drawn. But that's all we have so far. And they said they were looking for some sort of nod from us that their plan was gonna go before they went forward. I told them what they needed, and they understand that they need, they're gonna need not an easement, but a right of access, and I'm not sure how that wording will go. They're using Harry Parker, and he will probably make it the right wording.
And the curb stop placements.
So yeah, for 2 curb stops, because now we'll need access to the curb stop for the house that's currently being supplied as well, so that we can isolate them. And everybody's in agreement on it. I'm just waiting for a
Okay.
document from them so that we can approve that.
All right, sounds
So
good.
do you want me to get a hold of them? You want Lisa to send them a letter saying that we're okay with your plan, now provide everything else?
We're yeah, I think we're good with the plan, provided it shows the updated shut-offs and
It does.
whatever. I think there was easements and access. Now, the town of North Hero has a easement letter. It's a generic one, so I would suggest, instead of reinventing the wheel, that we just provide them a copy of our vetted easement form that I believe an attorney's already looked at. Do you know the one I mean, Lisa?
Yeah, we've used it for like Blockhouse and Carrie Bay Lane, and yeah, I know which one.
So I would suggest that we supply them with that and not have Harry go out and, if he's working on it, reinvent the wheel, so that we have all the same type of wheels in the documented.
And Lisa, can you forward a copy of that both to me and to the applicant?
The easement?
Yeah,
Yep.
thank you.
All right, and let's keep Rockledge on there for follow-up
Okay.
for the next time. Anything else, or are you good, Brian?
No, other than that, we're just waiting on them to, fill in their application with all of the documents that we specified.
Okay, all right, so moving on, Pacific Loss Control visit. I looked through there, saw there was 3 or 4 things. The shaft access port, I can see the covering to it is right there beside it. It looks like they need to put it back on. The lift rig. So I look at the picture and I'm a little confused what the lift rig is that they're talking about. Do any of you guys know? It says a rusty lift rig was found hanging in storage. Oh, okay. So it's the come along. Is that what they're calling the now? Aren't they all rusty except for the day you buy them? Right? So I would suggest that on that one, we just take it out and have Kevin look at it, and if it needs to be oiled up or something a bit, then he takes care of that. But I don't see why we would want to throw that out. Am I missing something? It says the unit should be evaluated for reliability and slated for disposal if inspection fails. Ultimately, older dated lift equipment change slings should be retired sooner rather than later to mitigate inadvertent or necessary based reintroduction to job task. So that sounds like a catch-all. So I would suggest, either Andy or Brian, whoever we come up with, who's gonna go to, chat about this, that we just have them look to see if the unit still looks reliable. And if it just needs a rag with some oil on it to run over the chain, or there's something that is definitely a concern that I can't tell by the picture.
Yeah,
Thoughts?
I'll get,
Kevin was
here, so
there,
I'll-
I'm sure, for the evaluation, so he should know exactly what the guy's talking about. Has Kevin received the letter of this finding?
Yes, he has.
Okay, I'm sure he's on it already.
And then the third one is where the exit signs are conflicting. He needs to address that. The ladder access edge protection, I would suggest that one, that we start with fixing the chain. It says at the top of the ladder system versus chains has proven the event of safety swing gate in the industry of the top. I'm trying to just follow his chain of thought.
He's looking for a second chain across the aperture and the railing.
So,
Well, in that picture on the right side of the chain, you can see that carabiner's not closed.
yeah,
I think he doesn't like that carabiner being open like that as part of it.
so let's have Kevin get another chain and fix that up at that point, and go from there. And then provide this gentleman with pictures of what was accomplished, or whatever he needs for documentation. Corinne and Lisa, do you know what these folks asked for documentation, or do they just come back and do it again next year, or?
They like to know by email what has been completed and when, but an email is fine. They don't usually request pictures, although they like them. And they come every year.
Okay, then let's just have him respond with an email after he's fixed them with the dates, and have, is it Andy, did you say you were gonna catch up with him, or Brian?
Well, yeah, since I'm here and Brian isn't, I'll touch base with Kevin this week to make sure he's addressing all these issues.
Okay, and when he sends that email, have him put a copy of that in the his SOS report, so we got a copy of it.
Yeah, we do this every year, and I asked Lisa to put it on the agenda in case there are any larger ticket items. Last year, we did the snow guards.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they find something every year.
Wouldn't be doing their job otherwise.
I'm gonna bet that if we have another individual go in there tomorrow, they will find 3 things too. Which, there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, the only one that sort of caught my eye is the chain in there, the come along. Unless something's cracked or really bad, it doesn't look like something I would throw out.
If it's just surface rust, it's really not an issue. And there's this really nice
Yeah.
stuff we used to use at the marina called corrosion block. The rust will be gone if you spray it on there. Give it 2 days and it'll be gone.
So, yeah, so that's what I think he needs to do. Otherwise, I'm happy to put a bid on it. Yeah.
$5.
Yeah, so, all right, where were we in our, so that takes care of the loss control visit. North Hero Town Report, is that something different down there? Or is that just part? That's part of it. Okay.
That was the report, yeah.
A&R account, email from Lane Simon. Now, I thought this is what you meant about starting a new account, but is this different than what Brian has?
I don't think so.
Okay, because it says the drinking water is moving to an online only method for public water systems, communications, records, submissions, certificates, etc. So Brian, if you
Kevin's
don't,
already on that. He's already doing his reporting correctly on the new online thing. He and I both have accounts now.
okay, so we have access, and I take it in the future, they're gonna be sending stuff like the operating permit when they want funds, or any of the other funds they want. And is he gonna be submitting paperwork of tests and stuff on there too?
Yeah, he's just sampling results, everything's gonna have to go through that one portal now.
Okay, so I guess my only question of why I'm asking, please ask him if this is the same thing. Because
Yeah.
if it's the same thing, it's like, why is his boss sending us a letter saying you need one of these? That's the only
Well-
thing that caught me of,
Because we both set up our accounts since that letter came.
okay, gotcha. All
And
right,
Andy and I already have accounts with A&R. So
we have multiple accounts.
we do, yep, multiple different functions.
Okay. All right. Okay. Ordering of replacement computers. What
So
we got there?
did Kevin talk to you about, so both of the computers at the water plant will no longer be supported as of October 2025, and we knew that. But he's really struggling with them now. So now that we've transitioned to the new IT vendor, he'd like to replace them now.
And any idea how much?
No, we'll get a quote from VC3 about how much they are.
So, my next question is for you, Lisa, and for Andy. Can that be rolled into the project for funding?
Not sure how.
You may have potential with the HMI computer because it's the one that controls the monitoring. And if you need to tie in the monitoring of the water tower,
Mhm.
but, and this is something that Kevin's trying to figure out. This is what I think he talked about at the end of the last meeting, was who he wants to use with monitoring and how he wants to tie it in and the system he wants to use.
Right.
And you could perhaps justify needing to upgrade the computer.
Yeah,
You know, it
good
depends on,
point.
but just the
Yes.
regular laptop, no, I think that would be a stretch.
Right.
So we should ask, what's the gentleman, Peter, of how we can make sure it's documented there, because once again, I look at that and I say, I don't know how much it is, but $2,000, let's say, that's another 20% of that I can get with the loan over there, that I might not have capital when we do the replacement of the line. So the more we can put here, the better.
Yep.
All right, so what are we looking for out of this? He wants permission to order now. He wants us to think about it.
I think he wants permission to place the order, to open the ticket to get the ball rolling.
Okay, my input would be let's make sure we don't get something that's not gonna work. So, and I'm sure he's aware of that. And then my second thought is, let's not just get the minimalistic one that's gonna work. Let's make sure that it's got capability to take care of us for a while.
Okay,
And why don't we re-add that to the agenda of update on that slash funds from the
quote,
well, funds from the
Oh,
water tank
grant, okay.
storage yeah. Right. So we got that water replacement, water credit supervisor report.
Yep, we have a total of $7,034 outstanding. $10 still from 23-24, and then the rest from 24-25. We have the last installment due April 20th, and then we will start the disconnect process for anyone owing more than 2 payments.
Okay, and the potential there is how many? 5 or 6?
Potential shutoffs,
Yeah,
usually have more than that after April. And then, but they usually start paying pretty quickly.
okay.
So,
All right, thank you for that.
mhm.
Any questions on that from the board? Discussion, board discussion action items. I think we got for next agenda, it's probably gonna turn to spring work projects from the winter. Is there anything there that needs to be discussed, Brian or Andy? Well, if not, let's just call it spring work projects, which I'm gonna guess is probably repairing a bunch of work that from damage that was caused by plowing and winter activity.
Well, we ought to make sure that those, the safety inspection things are on that list too. The safety inspection items is,
Oh, yes, yes. And I sort of lost you. You sort of came in and out. So, yeah, so
yeah, I'm bouncing in and out.
spring work projects. So let's put a little subcategory under there for the PACIF items.
Okay,
Discussion of disbursement and requirements for grant funding. So that would have been Andy and
Yeah.
Frank.
Give you, yeah, and Lisa is involved, but
And Lisa.
quick update, as far as the NBRC grant goes, again, that's all been being allocated to phase 2. I'm expecting that we're going to start receiving invoices on phase 2 since Aldrich and Elliott is starting design. So I talked to Peter Root about that. I think Peter and Lisa have a meeting set up later on this month to get that process. It'd be nice to start submitting payment requests to them and receiving money back. We haven't done any of that yet. As far as the request for changes, I think we need to be a little further on in the design process with an updated budget before we go back to NBRC and say, you know, we want to make these changes to our overall budget. So I think that's kind of where that one stands. USDA, I think we're in good shape. We've had a couple recent meetings with them. They've sent us a sample format of how they want the monthly invoices to look. And again, Peter is aware of that, and I think that's part of the meeting between Peter and Lisa later on this month to make sure we've got everything in the correct format to get reimbursed from USDA. I'm not aware right now of any other issues unless you look like you.
Not an issue, just an update. I've been continuing to work on the policies that were brought to light during our compliance review last month. And so the select board has approved a non-discrimination policy along with a ADA and 504 complaint procedure and form. So that one is complete. I can send that along to Sean. The next thing we'll be working on is a conflict of interest policy and a purchasing policy. Those need to be updated to become compliant with new federal regulations. I was waiting for a template from VLCT. I've been working with their federal grants person, and she had hoped to have it done by the end of February. I'd like to work on those two next, as I think they're the most important, but I don't want to keep waiting forever because these all need to be in place before construction. So if I don't hear from VLCT soon with those templates, I'm going to move on to my next goal, which was a batch of policies around cash management that Lisa found out would be needed when she connected with her auditor about what would be needed for a single audit. So those would be travel and meal reimbursement policy, a cash management uniform grant guidance policy, allowability of costs for a uniform grant guidance policy, and payroll time accruals policy. Those are just things I want to see on the books for organizations they give grants to.
And before we get off that, Sean Fielder could not give me 100% assurance that the money's still there for us.
Nope. That's pretty clear.
Yeah.
That's pretty. Nothing.
We
Okay.
think we're in good shape. He thinks we're in good shape, but he couldn't give us an absolute guarantee.
That's, well, nothing in life's an absolute guarantee, so.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
But
let
I'm
me
moving
ask-
forward.
Yeah, we're all moving forward as if the money's coming. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, the CRRP grant. Is there any relief available on the 20%? Is there any way to move that to a higher number, a 40% or a 50%? Is that something we can ask? And
We've asked that in the past. I think it's pretty clear. It's 20% up to a maximum of whatever it was, 800 and some odd thousand. That's all we're ever gonna get.
well, that's not what I mean.
No, I think what
No.
you're asking, if the project comes out less, can we still get the 816,000 if that's more than 20% of the project? I think.
Yes.
And I think I'm pretty sure the answer is no. I mean, we can ask again, but I'm pretty sure it's no.
I think we should ask again.
Okay.
At the same time, we should continue to look and be creative about any additional costs that comes our way that we can push into the phase one. You know, like the computers, because that keeps increasing, you know, what the 20% is over there that we can grab. Your 60,000, that increases it. So if there's anything that we can push over there that's additional that we need, legal, whatever it happens to be, sort of raise your hand and say, hey, I found something here that might be helpful. But yes, let's ask again, Andy. All right, anything else?
Yeah, I just want to point out, I think we're gonna be making another payment request to CRRP as of the end of this month.
Okay.
That's what I guess Peter and Lisa are talking
I've been
about.
sending him the
Yeah,
invoices
yeah,
every
he
month,
thinks
so,
it's time for us to.
so, yeah, he's
submit
got
another
it,
pay
yeah.
request. Well,
He's thought once a quarter.
yeah,
Okay. And how about the revolving, it's not there, but the revolving loan fund?
Yeah, that's in process. I do have a contact, yeah, that I've actually exchanged emails this morning. He said it's under review, nearly done with that process and ready to move on. He couldn't give me a firm date, but it looks like everything's proceeding as well as it can proceed in that department.
Okay, and let's keep those three items there for discussion, and then let's add the revolving loan fund
Yeah.
to it also. Anything else there from the board? Financial report, North Hero CD investment. You know, Frank didn't give me information of what he wanted to do, but he's sort of been consistent. I would think we just have Lisa go down the path that he's been going
Sure.
down.
Yeah.
Make a
Is there
motion that
any
we
that
can-
are maturing?
They're all maturing this month. Now
Oh, okay. I
they're
don't-
all maturing every month, so. Yeah, the last one matured, it was like 9 months
Yeah, okay.
last month. So we have one maturing this week and 3 the week of the 21st.
Well, I'll make the motion that we continue the 30-day cycle on all of the CDs.
Second,
Okay,
I'll second that.
further discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any nays? No nays. Okay, appointed positions. So review letters of interest. So we got 2.
3.
3,
Well, we got, correct.
did I not?
3. We got
Yeah.
2 for the water commissioner,
Oh, yeah.
and then we got 1 for the water credit supervisor. And I did enjoy reading those letters.
We aim to make it entertaining, Larry.
I tried to
Good.
make mine shorter, Larry, but I couldn't.
I saw. It was sort of the diverse approach there. And Lisa, did we receive any others?
We did not.
We did not. And the closeout date has come and gone.
Yes, it was the 3rd of March. They had to get them into you guys to review tonight, and the recommendation has to go to the select board for next Monday's meeting.
Okay, so I would like to do it individually. And why I say this is I've received some pushback in the past of having an individual vote for themselves. So with us not having Frank here, we still need a quorum to vote for the individual. So if we could do it that way, it would make me politically happy and make us look politically also correct, even though we don't have anybody else applying. So if I could have a motion for Jim, with Jim not participating in it.
I'll make that.
I move
motion
to
that we,
recommend, Jim.
Well, okay, you beat me to it, Brian. I'll second.
Okay, and any additional discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, and Jim abstains. Okay, and the same way around for Andy, please, for the water commissioner appointment.
I make
I
a
make a
motion.
motion to recommend Andy.
Okay,
Second
It's-
that.
it sounded like a tie.
I'll give it to Brian.
All right, and any additional discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And Andy abstains.
Yep.
Okay, water credit supervisor appointment. for Lisa.
I'll make the motion that we recommend Lisa to the select board as our water credit supervisor.
Second,
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, and that's unanimous. Okay, so Lisa, we just need a letter. I'm
Yep,
just
it's all
wondering
set.
if,
It's all
if-
set to go. I just needed to put the names in.
okay, do you do one letter or do you do two?
I do one.
And it has the, your position and the commissioner.
Yes.
Okay, and I would suggest that,
So,
with the guys not voting for each other, that you just put my name on the bottom of it as the chair.
you got it.
Any objection to that?
Nope.
No. All right, open meeting law, ethics training, that's always fun.
Well, it's gonna be different. So you don't have dates, do you?
No, because we used to always have a live open meeting law training that we were lucky enough Northwest Regional Planning would put on every year. Now that we have the ethics component, I think what's gonna happen is there will be a canned option. And unfortunately, it's gonna be two. There's going to be a reporting to watch for ethics that is gonna come from the Secretary of State's office, and there's going to be a reporting to watch from VLCT that's gonna come from Vermont. Well, there's an open meeting law training that's gonna come from Vermont League of Cities and Towns that'll be pre-recorded. They'll be free. I'm gonna wait till after appointments and send out a mass email with everybody and how recommending, we as the town are required to document the ethics. I'm kind of thinking we should probably just start documenting the open meeting law, just most people are gonna need to take two. So that I'll have information on, go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, well, my input is the town is required to document the open meeting law. The select board had put in place, if you're the chair of a committee in town, you have to do it once a year. If you're a board member, you have to do it every 2 or 3 years.
Right.
So that should be documented too. I don't know how it's,
The way the current open meeting law policy reads, each board is required to keep track of their own status from an open meeting law perspective. Whereas, so I've never kept that information.
I've been keeping it for the board.
Yeah, so, but the state law is pretty clear. They require that the select board appoint an employee to be a liaison to the state, and one of their roles is to track all of this. And they've provided templates for how to do so, so I'm thinking it may, this for being the first year to get everybody in the same cycle. And I believe that they sync up. It's like annual for chairs and every 3 years for everybody else.
yeah. And then, yeah, and maybe it would be good to collectively document that in the future, so it's not individually.
That's, yeah, I think the ethics law is gonna push that. The review of the open meeting law policy that the town has been slated for a few months. The water board stuff keeps pushing it off. So this first year, our process probably will not match our open meeting law policy that we have internally for that reason.
Okay. So the training, is this something the state's gonna give us, or you're gonna make up true and false questions?
No, the Secretary of State's office has provided a video for
Oh,
ethics.
Okay,
The Vermont
good.
League of City and Towns has provided a video for the open meeting law. What I'm envisioning is there will just be affidavits for all the members to sign once they've watched or, you know, and every board may want to do it differently. The boards may want to have a watching party, or they may do it as part of their meeting. So yeah, I imagine most will just say, watch it and send Corinne this affidavit when you're done.
Yep.
So let me tell you what the next step's gonna be from the state. because I have to do this at work when I do my additional training on different subjects at home. I have to sign into a portal, and then it automatically documents that I'm there. And then I have to pass it on top of it because it asks questions. And so that I've heard some people will just turn the video on and then disappear and have a cup of coffee. I won't name names. You have to come back and touch the screen like every minute and a half to turn it to the next page so that we don't have coffee drinkers. So I'm quite sure the state with the technology and AI, it'll be coming our way soon, I would think. But
Yeah.
I'm glad I shared that.
You're not.
All right. Okay, so you're going to give us more information on that in a timeline. So let's put that on there for April, Lisa, please.
Okay,
SharePoint folder update. What do we have there?
you want to?
So I was kind of dragging my feet on this, waiting until we had onboarded with our new IT consultant, and that has happened. And I found out they've gone through and confirmed how everything is set up. But what has happened is Microsoft began requiring multi-factor authentication a few months ago. And I hadn't gotten the memo. So I think we're not getting through because of the multi-factor issues. So I used the Community Hall Advisory Committee as guinea pigs. I removed them all from the group, added them to the group. They all brought their laptops to a meeting. They were all 100% successful in logging in. The key was the multi-factor authentication. Everybody had to have either an app or some type of, the app works the best. You download an app on your phone. It's a Microsoft Authenticator. And then you were able to click on the link and it worked smoothly for everybody. So what I would recommend is that, if everybody is okay with it, I'm a little disappointed that now there's this other component of downloading an app. But I could send out the name of the app. Everybody could download it, and then I could remove everybody from the group, add them back in, which would resend the link. And we could either do this in a meeting, like the Community Hall Advisory Committee did, or offline if you'd like.
What
So-
version of Windows do you need to be running?
The version of Windows doesn't matter because the SharePoint is 100% online. So if you've got an internet connection and you can do the Microsoft authentication, you can get in.
Yeah, because I have no Windows. I just do iPad. Now, is it, what's this app? Is it Duo?
No, it's Microsoft Authenticator.
Yeah, it's easy to, I've got it on my iPhone, so.
There's one of the community hall members ran into this. She Googled Microsoft and the iPhone app, and there was like a fake one that came up first. So I do want to send you the official name and maybe the logo to make sure you pick the right one to download.
Okay, and it just pops up a number, or you just hit yes and it goes
Yeah.
over.
So what happened with the community hall committee, I mean, this tech changes so fast. This was almost a month ago. It could all be different by the time we try and do it again. But they clicked on the link and they got a, what are those boxes to scan?
Q code.
Q code, yeah, QR
Yeah.
code.
Code?
And they scan the QR code through the Authenticator app. So you open the Authenticator app and there's a scan button and you push it. And then it takes you hold it up to the screen where there's a QR code and it connects your phone to your account basically. And in the future, when you go to log in, you can set it up one of two ways. You can set it up to send you a code, or you can get a code from your app and put it into the computer. Sometimes I think it mixes it up on you just to play with you.
Mhm.
Will it, is there also an option to just text you a code with your phone number?
One of the members was playing around with that and she thought she had gotten in with it, and then it was just more cumbersome. She ended up deciding to download the app.
Okay,
Uh,
all right,
but I-
so why don't you do this? Send us out the information ahead of time so that we
Okay.
can look at it. And then why don't we set aside 10 minutes or something on the next agenda to do that? Is that enough time, you think, or?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions on that? Thank you for hanging in there.
This IT stuff has been interesting.
Yeah.
But, well, you laugh at me when I'm telling you how that training stuff's gonna go, but it's going
Oh.
exactly the way I briefed you in the future.
Well, Lisa's had a training where they like scan her face.
Yeah. I had to take a test online that was not monitored and I had to be in the camera and I had to film my room that I was in and
Well, my face is recognized around the world now, so the Chinese have it, so when I walk in there, it's like boom, boom, and they got everything. In the US, I don't take my passport out anymore. I just walk through and they go, Mr. DuPont, well, she's the captain, it's Captain DuPont, welcome back to the US. That's it. I don't even take my passport out. It's
Cool.
amazing. It's
I don't
amazing.
know how cool that is.
Yeah. All right. So moving on, future agenda items, we can look back through and if anybody has one, we sort of added it as we went along. I would say the general stuff in there again, Lisa, and then what we talked about. And does anybody else have a pet peeve or something?
so we've got the board reorganization for
Oh, yeah.
April. We're gonna have spring flushing normally in April.
Yeah,
I normally will have the consumer confidence report in April.
okay.
And the preferred contractor agreements and the list of preferred contractors, we start that process all over again.
Seems like we just finished
I
it.
thought so, yeah.
Good. So the spring flushing, let's put that under the SOS spring works projects. That
You want it under SOS or do you want it under the discussion of work projects? Because we've got work projects under the board discussion items and we have the separate SOS heading.
we got the SOS operating permit. Boom, boom. I think under spring work projects, so under
Okay.
board discussion action items.
You got it.
I think I'm gonna head out while you guys work on this agenda.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Yeah,
Good to see you.
yeah, of
Thank you, Corinne.
course. Great night.
So the beginning's gonna start with the calling the meeting to order. And I guess the adjustment to the agenda. And then the election of the board and all that stuff is the first thing that we do.
Before
However-
the minutes, before the minutes.
Look at however you did it last year
Okay,
and do it the same again this year.
okay.
Is that fair enough, guys?
Mhm. Yep.
And I think that's it. Anything else? Thank you for all that work, Lisa.
Well,
Sounds like April's gonna be a busy month. Adjourn.
I will make the motion to adjourn.
Did we lose our coffee drinkers? Oh, they're muted.
Muted. Second,
A second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. How do you vote, Brian?
He raised his hand.
He's muted. All
I say
right,
he raised his hand, so we're good.
there you go. Okay, thanks, guys. I think we're making progress slowly.
My mute button doesn't work. I'm only getting about half of the stuff.
Okay.
So,
All right. See
all
you
right,
guys.
good seeing everybody. Thank you.
Good night.
Night.